So this sikha, it's very interesting. It's titled "בחוקותי and Lag Ba'omer," and the Rebbe is going to explain how on the Shabbos after Lag Ba'omer, he's talking still about Lag Ba'omer. Part of the sikha is going to explain that, but there's going to be a lot of details, and it's from Chelik Aleph, so it's more like a Fabrengen. And it's going to go from one thing to another thing to another thing. But the main thing that we need to keep in mind over here is that Rebbe wants to explain how through Torah and mitzvahs we get brachas begashmis, like it says at the beginning, and especially the mile of Pnimis HaTorah, the Rashbi. The mile of Pnimis HaTorah is that even things that should have been or might have been a negative should come down begashmis begoli as a positive. So again, he's going to go off on a lot of different little lines, but this is the way how we have to keep track of where he's going with this. Because in such a way, it's like strange to say, if you will go in my chukim, even though we're going to have later on, it could be if. But the Eibishter is giving us like a choice. It's what it's trying to say, the way the Gemara explains it is, Hashem is begging us. He's saying, please. And we find other places. We use the word im as a tanai. But ki im tachnunim. Over here, the word im is Hashem is begging us. But please, b'chokoyse telechu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu kiviyachol mischan lebnei Yisrael b'chokoyse telechu. And what does that mean? So Rashi, right away on the pasuk, explains what's the meaning b'chokoyse telechu. Shetiu amelim b'toyra. Hapakosha v'atzivui noisnim koyach u'mahavim gam haftacha l'kol Yehudi sheb'chokoyse telechu k'kosem levilti yidach menu nidach. So since every Yid will eventually do this, so when Hashem begs of us something, when Hashem asks of us something, that itself, the Rebbe many times says, the fact that Torah says that we should do something, that itself is a nesinas koyach. It gives us the strength, it gives us the power to do so. And he's going to show this from somewhere else where we see that when Hashem tells us to do something, it's also ensuring that we can do it. Shnei hanyanim tzivui v'avtocha moitzim gam b'mitzvos avos Hashem. As a posik v'avtas Hashem alekecha mefarish ad morazakim shnei pirushim. Aleph alech alehoiv. It's a mitzvah. You should love. Beis osid atolehoiv. That the Eibishter is promising us. He's avtocha. You will love the Eibishter. Gam sham kshurim shnei pirushim zeh. How are they connected? So since Hashem asks it of us or commands us, He gives us the opportunity, He gives us the koyches to be able to do it. And since it's that way by Avos Hashem, and Avos Hashem mahave shoyrish l'chol ramach mitzvasasi, ubechlol and gam l'mitzvas yiras Hashem. She shoyrish l'chol shasam mitzvas loisase, nimtza efer she'avos Hashem mishameshes shoyrish because having fear of Hashem is one of the Ramach Mitzvahs Aseh. So even though Tanya says, love is the Shoydish for 248, fear is the Shoydish for all the 365 negative, but since Yira itself is one of the 248, so it comes out that love is the Shoydish for all the mitzvahs. And therefore, Kishem Shala'ava Yeshlim Tzivui Vavtacha, Kach Gam L'chol Taryag Mitzvahs, that the tzivui on it is also gives us the koyach to be able to do it. Hanechlolos v'pasik im meloshen tachnunim v'gam meloshen avtacha b'choyz telechum ves mitzvoi saitish moiru v'asisa moisam. The pasuk is talking about every type of mitzvah. B'chukoyzai, mitzvoisai, asisa moisam. All of these it says im loshen tachnunim. Hashem is asking and He's promising us that we'll be able to do it. Pirush Noisov Yeshlo B'Choisai Shakavana LeMitzvahs that specific mitzvahs. Beforehand we were talking about Shetiu Amelim B'Torah. Here he's talking about B'Choisai Pashut mitzvahs. But in mitzvah itself, there's mitzvahs that are called chukim. Yesh b'mitzvahs shloisha sugim. Mishpatim, Eidos, V'chukim. Mishpatim hem ha-mitzvah sh'aseichel ha'atzma yoy mechayvan. It's logical, not to steal. Gam il-molitiv sa-atoyra aleim. Then there's a second category, Eidos. It testifies, it celebrates, it marks a certain occasion. Hey, ma mitzvah sh'aseichel kishal ha'atzma lo yoy amna mechayvan. We wouldn't have come up with the mitzvahs of Eidos on our own necessarily to celebrate Yetzias Mitzrayim, to celebrate Shabbos. Amnam, avalachar sha'atoyra tzivsa aleim yesh l'makom b'seichel. Yeah, it's good to make a commemoration of a day that we went out of Mitzrayim. It's good to commemorate the day that the Eibishter finished creating the world. V'chukim hem ha-mitzvah she'en lam kol makom b'seichel, keshatnes, paraduma v'demeh. HaKosiv Omer b'chukoisai. Why does the pasuk say b'chukoisai? If in truth is that the Mefarshim say that b'chukoisai means all the mitzvahs, so why use that term that seems to talk about only those mitzvahs that are chukim, that are beyond understanding? Lirmois, it comes to hint for us, shagam as ha'edis ha'mishpat, af sheyesh la makom b'seichel, yesh la kaimam b'kabolas oil kederach shemakaimim chukim, chukah hakakti gzeira gozart. So the Rebbe says, one might think, if I'm going to do all the mitzvahs, not because I understand or I appreciate it, I'm just doing it because the boss said to do it, so then it comes out that I'm not going to have an enjoyment in the mitzvah. I'm not going to have a chayis in the mitzvah. So the Rebbe says, no. Still in all, yesh bedavar tainog. Than if he would be doing it because he understands it. That it speaks about different levels of a servant. There is a type of eved that says avda befker nichlei. He would rather not do the work, but the only reason he's doing it is because he's being forced to do the work. But then there's someone that's an eved nemon. The eved nemon, he's on the one hand, he's a servant. He's not doing it because necessarily he understands. And even on eved pashut, it's not because he understands. On the other hand, he is so devoted to his adon that anything that will give his adon tainuk, that's enjoyable for him. I don't know why. I don't know what he wants from me. But it's the adon's tainuk, he enjoys that. So in the similar vein over here, I can be doing the mitzvahs because I understand it, because I enjoy it. That's still a limited enjoyment. The real enjoyment is if I am doing the mitzvah because I know Hashem enjoys it, even though I don't know why, that causes by me an even greater enjoyment. It says, Im b'chokoisai teleichu. Lam roisha meduber b'chokoisai b'kabola soil, yesh chan teleichu. What does teleichu indicate? It should have said, observing mitzvahs, right? Either you're talking about Torah or mitzvahs, why the word halicha? Should have said in b'choisai tishmeru or tasu or things like that, or tilmedu if you're talking about Torah. What's this teleichu? When a person is, let's say, walking around, but he's walking around the same table, that's not really called traveling. Halicha means that he's traveling. A traveler is not, if you have, let's say, a dog that has like a chain, he has a long chain, but he just going around in circles the whole time. He can't go further than the chain. That's not called, he's not going anywhere. He's walking, he's not going anywhere. True halicha, according to Chassidus, means beligvul, if there's no limit to where he's going. This type of traveling, without any limitations, if the person is only serving Hashem because of his limited soul power, so that's a limitation. He's limited. He's mobile. He can't really break out of himself. He's not really traveling. If it's from the makif koiches, meaning something that's outside of himself, that he has a delight in, that he has an enjoyment in, that he's passionate about, we can see when a person's passionate about something, his nights are not nights, his days are not days. There's no limitations. I forgot to eat, I forgot to go to sleep. This is what I'm involved in. There's no limitations anymore. That Hashem is begging us, please do the mitzvahs. But how we're going to do the mitzvahs? Ki im gam lederech kiyum ha-mitzvahs b'chukoisai teleichu. That Hashem is begging us, don't just do the mitzvahs. Do it in a way of enjoyment, do it in a way of chayis, do it in a way of breaking out of boundaries, do it in a way of that nothing stands in your way, no limitations. And then, v'chol Yehudi muftach she'yekaymes ha-mitzvahs gam b'chayis v'gam b'kabolas oil. It'll be both l'maylam na-seichel and with a gishmak. And what's the reward for this? Chara David, who the pasuk says, "V'nasati gishmechem be'itam goyim hageshem mebchina ruchnis hu yarif kamater likhi." It's talking about motor. It's talking about likhi. Likhi. It says ki lekach toiv nasati lechem toirosi al tazoiv. So we see that the Torah is called lekach. It's very interesting. In Yiddish, honey cake is called lekach. But so we're saying that Torah is likened to rain. So it says "V'nasati gishmechem be'itam." So in the spiritual sense, it's talking about He's going to give us Torah. And not just Torah itself, or l'mayla manu oir ha-Torah. In other words, what's behind the Torah. Not just Rav said this, Abaye said this is what happened with Avram, this is what happened with Sarah, but you see the light, the ruchnius in it. Well, l'mayla yoysa the person gets, nasati gishmechem, ha-Torah shal-Mashiach yilamed, ha-Torah shal-Akshav, so we're going to be zoiche as a reward for imbachkois telechu, going out of ourselves with a gishmak and a chayis and kabbalas oil. We're going to be zoiche having the Torah in the highest level to Rosh Mashiach. And here is going to be the point that is going to go through the entire sikha, how by having the pnimius HaTorah, that helps bring down all the brachas in the physical world. Sometimes we know that when a person has gashmis, it interferes. We even have a psukim, it says, Vayishman Yisrael, Vayishman Yeshurun, Vayivak. He went ahead and he fried out. Kim Adrab, instead of it won't disturb, like it says in the Gemara, the Alter Rebbe brings it down to Tanya also. The loyachilna bisra the Torah, that there was someone that they came to ask him pshat in a certain thing, and he couldn't answer them. And he said, "Come back tomorrow." And he explained, I cannot answer. So what do we see over there? The gashmias, the eating a good piece of steak was not something that interfered with his ruchnias; it contributed to his ruchnias. And this is what the Rambam explains, the whole idea of the promises for physical things is because Hashem wants to reward us. He sees how we're interested in Torah mitzvahs, so He gives us all the physical needs, so it should be easier for us to be able to do Torah mitzvahs. So now we get into a different part of our parsha, but it's really connected in the way the Alter Rebbe does it. It's connected to the beginning of the parsha. The beginning of the parsha, at least in Bechokosai, is talking about the rewards for doing what's right. But a lot of the parsha is the Teichacha, where the Eibishter rebukes us if we chas v'shalom don't keep Torah mitzvahs. But in Lakoti Torah, it talks about things of the Teichacha in a positive way. It talks about a ruchnistic, a spiritual good. Musber ki prati atechacham hinam lamita shel davar brachas. The dogma, for example, one of the brachas that's to be found in the Teichacha says va'afu eser nashim lachmechem betanur echad. The simple meaning is they won't be able to afford bread, they won't be able to afford to bake separately, whatever. They're all going to be having these tiny little pieces they're going to bake it in one oven. But the Alter Rebbe, the Torah explains, Aseres koiches hanefesh yiu afuyim v'loyatim b'chamimas ha'ava haba mizbonis shal echad yichudei shal olam. The Tanur Echad means the burning fire of appreciating Achdus Hashem. And that Achdus Hashem appreciation is going to bring them to a burning fire is going to be such that it's going to make all the 10 koiches hanefesh, es and noshim, are going to be all bursting into flame. So if so, why doesn't it say openly in the Torah? Why does it say things that sound negative? Elo should be yosim brachas naos be yoser Ein b'afsharusam lavio de gilui umshum kach namru b'tzura shenamru, because they're too high to come down the revealed way. This is the famous story. The Rebbe doesn't bring it down in the Sikha, but the Rebbe talks about it in other Sikhas. The famous story that the Alter Rebbe was the Bal Koire in his shul. 1 year, Parshas Kisavai, also the other place in the Torah that has the Teichacha, the Alter Rebbe was away. So someone else read the Teichacha, and the Mittler Rebbe fainted. They asked him, "Why do you faint?" "Because I heard such terrible klalos." He said, "What? How old are you? How many years have you been listening to?" He says, "As a tata learned, herzlichen klalos. When my father reads, you don't hear any types of curses." It's the same idea. There is the and we're going to talk about this also. There's the way the Pnimis HaTorah can be revealed in the Nigla, or the way it remains removed. So the Tzemach Tzedek in Lakoti Torah writes a lot of Hagos on the Alter Rebbe's Maimorim. So in this Maimor in Lakoti Torah, where the Alter Rebbe speaks about these very high brachas that are concealed and can't come down revealed, the Tzemach Tzedek brings in a Hagah on the Maimor a very interesting story in the Gemara, and he explains it based on this. Hatzamach Tzedek Moise Ba'Hagah shezeb gam hamuvim besipra Gemara al Rab Shimon ben Yochai sheshalach es b'noi l'Rabbi Yonasan ben Amasai v'Rabbi Yehuda ben Gerim shivarchu. He sent his son Rabbi Lazar, who he later was over there to get, or I don't know if later, who was one time with him in the cave for so many years, and he sent them to these two Tanoim to get a bracha. Kishachazar ben Rashbi Masar lo es divrayim. He gave over, the Gemara goes into detail what they said to him, and if you read it, it sounds terrible. He was complaining. He was saying, "You said me that I'm getting brachas. They cursed me. They mavish." Rab Shimon, his were like she'amnam haya elu brachas. The Rab Shimon by Yochai explained to him, no, you misunderstood. What you heard and what you thought were klalos were really brachas. The gila lois mashmusa ma'amitas shaladvarim. So the story is really very strange. Why did they have to say it in such a way? Why did they have to say it in such a way that's going to be misunderstood by Reb Lazar? Madua b'emes birchu b'lashon halul l'ishtama b'tzura menugedes hamarshah metaris shkavanasum hoysa l'chidudei. They were doing it to sharpen Reb Lazar, to see how clever he can he go in deep, and so on. That what, based on what the Alter Rebbe said before, some brachas are too high, like the brachas in this week's, the klolos in this week's parsha, but they're really brachas, they're too high to come down in brachas. So loy hayav shari yiluyam el betzurazu. Nishalas hashayla im hayel brachas nailos from midrash chayavos los bata betzuramas musvis. So then the question is the other way. If they're too high to be revealed, how can the Rashbi reveal it? So the truth is also, in a certain degree, how can the Alter Rebbe, look at the Torah, reveal the brachas? So Adavar Yuvan Lefiyam Evorim Betanyam Ki Yisurim Seivel Hem B'chinas Toiv Shem Alma Diskasya Ha'olam HaMechusa B'chinas Yudke and Vavke. Yudke is called Hanistoris L'Hashem Elokeinu V'Niglas Lanu L'Vanenu. That's Vavke, that's something revealed. So the concealed world is Mishum Kachem is Batim B'chinas Seil V'Loi Oira V'Toiva Niris. Shadow is something that comes along with light. Where there's no light, there's no sail. So it comes along with light, but really the shadow, that which seems to be dark, comes from a higher shaydish. It's Alma Diskasya. That's the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, where Yisurim come from. When a person gets Yisurim, that's where it's coming from. Acham Kabel says Yisurim Besimcha, Zoicha, look at Seis Hashem's B'Gvorosei that says on Mashiach's times, that tzaddikim will be zoiche, instead of having the sail, they'll see the sun in its full force. Gilui hanelam sheyavi la'asid, from this alma diskasya that's too high to be able to become revealed in this world, just like the brachas that are looking like klolos. V'yizbata hat b'toiv anira v'anigl. So what does this mean? This means that there's a certain time when it can only be concealed. Alma diskasya. Why is alma diskasya called hidden? because it's too high for us. For us, it looks dark. So it's like looking in the sun. A person can't look at the sun. If you look in the sun, it blinds them because it's too powerful. Does that mean it's dark? No, just the opposite. It's very bright. The same thing, Alma Discasi, is such a brightness that down here in this world, it cannot come down in this full brightness, and therefore it comes down as something negative. In Mashiach's times, where the world will be more refined, where we'll be more refined, we'll be able to receive this great brightness down here below. So the Rebbe says like this: someone that's like on the level of the Rashbi, or like Pnimius HaTorah in Lakoti Torah, can see Mashiach's times, can feel and experience Mashiach's times now as well. Haneshama she'inyana mugili Pnimius HaTorah zoiches kvar ato legili ha'or shel ha'asid. Umeshum kacha yachol Rashbi she'inyana ha'gili Pnimius HaTorah lahakir es habrachas hatmunas bedvarim kivin shol didoy hoysa kvar dargas ketzeis Hashemesh begvarosai ulagabav hoya habrachas kvar b'chinas is galos umesibazu ba bir habrachas shebetoicha b'toras achsidus hamagalos pnimis haTorah. But in other places it can't say the brachas. Why? Because that doesn't have the level of Mashiach's times. It doesn't have the level of Mashiach's times, so it looks like klolus. Now, he's also going to explain why only the Rashbi could explain it to Rabbi Elazar Benoi. Why didn't Rabbi Elazar get it on his own? Because he wasn't on the level of the Rashbi. B'yois ha'karas ha'brachas k'shuras b'pnimis ha'toiram harei kishem she'pnimis ha'toiram nisgal sa'idei Rashbi l'kulam kein nisgalu al yodei ha'brachas gam lebnoi shaloi hoya ozadayim b'darga naila kazois. How do you know that Rabbi Elazar was not on such a high level? The very fact that his name is not mentioned, that shows he wasn't yet on the level that he was shaykh to be able to have this revealed. He was, in other words, you're telling me he's a son. He's a lower level. This is the father, this is the son. Rabbi Elazar. So he was just saying, it's his son. He doesn't call him Rabbi Elazar. He says his son. Son always says the son is not the father, because the Gemara wants to emphasize he wasn't on his father's level. He was still only a kid. He was still only his son. Why do you have to send him to someone else? Why couldn't he give him the bracha directly? Because again, he wasn't yet on that level to be able to receive the brachas openly. Then the Rebbe is going to connect this with another thing. The Rebbe is going to say an interesting thing over here. The Rebbe is going to say that in Tanya we find 3 different ways how a person is supposed to look at if they are going through suffering, Rahman Litzlan. And then the Rebbe is going to be Mechadish a 4th. And he's going to say that with this 4th way, we can avoid all these problems. Let's see it inside. That was the one that we mentioned in the previous column. In Perek Chavav, Upamayim Nesafas Begeres HaKodesh, Begeres HaKodesh Simcha Beis, Begeres HaKodesh Simcha Yud Aleph. B'chelik Rishon Shel Tanya, Nitenas Ha'etza, like we learned just before, Lekabos HaYisurim B'Simcha, Shayidei Kach Ba HaZchus LaHakoros HaToiv HaMistate B'hem, La'asid Lavi B'Tzura Niris V'Gluya. Because I did it this way, so I will merit when Mashiach comes, let's say Hashemesh B'Gvarosoi, that I'll finally see the hidden good that was there. But the Rebbe says there's a problem with that. Now, Nebuch, I got to suffer. I'm just assured that when Mashiach comes, I'll be paid back for all of this. Begeres HaKodesh Nitenes V'Mokim Echad HaEitzel L'Fashrish V'Maisav V'Liris Yisurim Kemiruk. As a cleansing. K'moshel Melech Godel V'Noira HaRoichetz B'Chvoide B'Atzmai Tzoyas B'nai Yichidoi K'mashakasu and Baruch Hashem Tzoyas B'nai Siyan Beruach Mishpat. So the Rebbe says, the Alter Rebbe explains, what does this mean? A parent that spends the time to clean a child, takes him into the bath and cleans him with hot water to clean him up, Is that because the parent is being mean to the child, or because the parent loves the child so much, so he's cleaning him, even though it means scrubbing a lot, and means a lot of hot water, and might not be comfortable for the child? The same thing, the Alter Rebbe says, the very fact that Hashem cares enough about me to cleanse me and to clean me, that's an expression of Hashem's Av. Davar Shabam Meroiv Avak Doil Shalamayla. He's born Nazu to Oider Kemayim Haponim Alponim Aval Hashem. If I just think into how much love Hashem is showing me by these Yisurim, so then I will come to show my love to Hashem. Now, when I show my love to Hashem, Shedav Tavil de Kach Shegamel Maila Tia Ava Megula V'Tizbatal Amata B'Toiv Anira V'Anigla. So here you have a way that you don't have to wait for Mashiach's times. You can have it revealed now. When you appreciate that it's an Av of Hashem, then you have an open love to Hashem. When you have an open love to Hashem, Hashem can't help it but show the love in an open way instead of Yisur. So the Rebbe says, Eitz Azu Eina Kshura Omnam B'Amtonis Lasid V'hi Noisenes Afsharis L'Kabal Satoy V'Anir V'Anigla Gam Ata. But still in all, Al Sheyesh Tzoydech L'Shem Kach B'Izbonanus U'B'Zoyres Avos Hashem. You still need to think, you still need to work. It's not an easy level to reach. But Makom Sheni Begeres HaKodesh Nitna Eitzel Adas Shayisudim Einai Enim El Nisyonis Menasim El Milos Adam Im Chefze V'Retzoyne B'Inyone Hoil Mazeh V'Chai Aguf Me'avose Yis Atzmoy Hamida B'Nesoyin Meviel Izgal Satoy V'Anir V'Anigla. The reason why this is being done to the person is just to see, is it something that the person cares about? Do I care about Gashmias? Do I care about Ruchnias? So the Eibush should give us a little atzip, a little knip. Wants to see. Let's see. Are you happy with the fact that you have Ruchnias? Or are you totally lose yourself when you don't have the Gashmias, even though you still have the Ruchnias? That once a person withstands an asayin and he shows, I can do it anyway. I can hold on to Torah mitzvahs. I don't get lost. Something happened to me. I don't get lost because of it. So then the Eibush says, fine, you withstood the test. We're going to take away the Yisurim. Because it's only a test. It's only a pinch to see, are you with the program or not? So he said, Yisroinu shalei tzezu, shein tzorich lahamtim le'soiris ava v'chulu. Like the previous one, person needs to think and bring to the ava, kamayim upon malponim, and so on. He doesn't need that. V'lizbal ados chas shalom, he has to suffer until he gets to this level of ava. Miyadim ha'amida b'nesoyin nisakim ha'yisurim. That is one advantage of this over the previous two. The first one, he has to wait till Mashiach's times. The second one, he has to at least go through the Hizbonanus, but it might take time till he goes through the Hizbonanus. Here, as soon as he withstands in the Sayin, the Yisurim stop. Yisurim noise bedavar shedai b'midam ma'ata shel Yisurim. You don't need to have chas shalom a lot of Yisurim. Shekein gam b'Yisurim ma'atim efshel nasa adam u'miyadim ha'ivachos b'uvda she'einu mesrashim ha'emim nekachim menu. The Chalzis, the Rebbe says, Yesh harei tzorich ba'amidah shel b'nesoyin. Comes the Rebbe and says, even though the Alter Rebbe gave 3 ways how to deal with Yisurim, I have a better way, a quicker way, the best way of all, beyond what the Alter Rebbe says. Yisroina shel pnimius ha'toyre v'dargosi shel hashbihu. The way of, like we said before, when you're in pnimius ha'toyre reveals and brings down begoli in the physical world, that things that look like Yisurim, it transforms them and changes them into barachas. So the way of Pnimis HaTorah, Hushain Tzorech Bam Tana La'asid, Oy B'Yisoyres Ava V'chulu, Oy B'Mamidim M'Nisoyin, Ki Pnimis HaTorah Mazbiro Megala Miyadus HaToiv Shebechol Davar, B'Tzura Niris V'Gluya. So now the Rebbe is going to take this whole idea that Pnimis HaTorah takes anything negative and transforms it into positive and brings the good down here into this world. Literally, begashmias mamish. So then, because we said before, you remember, we said halicha. halicha b'li gvul, in a way of gishmak and chayis. Where does that come from? That comes from pnimis haTorah. So when you have in b'chos telechu, so then you're going to have gishmeichem be'itam begashmit. You'll have the literal physical good. So the Rebbe is going to connect it now with Lag BaOmer. But first he's going to go into the whole thing. Why are we talking about Lag BaOmer now? It's the Shabbos after Lag BaOmer. So the Rebbe is going to explain the whole, a column and a half. Why am I talking now about Lag BaOmer if Lag BaOmer passed already? Hadvarim shalael kshurim gam l'Shabbos zu. Shabbos shalachar Lag BaOmer. Al Shabbos nemar misha tarach berev Shabbos yochel b'Shabbos. Hamashmois shal erev Shabbos kan einenu dafka l'yom shishi. It doesn't mean you got to wait till Friday to prepare for Shabbos, then you'll eat on Shabbos. And what happens if you prepare your food on Thursday? How about if you prepare it on Sunday? You'll also be able to eat on Shabbos. So we see the term Erev Shabbos does not mean literally Friday morning. It can mean the whole week. The whole story with Shammai and Hillel, different ways, how they used to prepare for Shabbos starting with Sunday. L'chein oimrim b'cholechtim yemei shvua hachal yom rishon hayom yom rishon b'Shabbos yom sheni b'Shabbos kadoima ubekach moinim as hayomim l'kras haShabbos haba. We're already in a Shabbos mode from Sunday already. I just finished Shabbos. I'm already thinking about next Shabbos. What does it mean we have to remember the day of Shabbos? It's a very strange expression, remembering Shabbos. You have to do Shabbos. You have to do the mitzvah of Shabbos. It's mitzvah asim Shabbos, mitzvah of Shabbos. What's it mean, remembering Shabbos? So the Ramban says, "Shaydei menias hayomim l'kras haShabbos haba, hayomim rishon b'Shabbos, hayomim shenim b'Shabbos, mekaymim mitzvah zochar zeh Shabbos hakadshei." Every time in the morning when we say Shir Shel Yom, we're being mekaym the mitzvah zochar zeh Shabbos. Lefichach gam nemar shatfilas shel kol sheishes in Hashavua oilos u'miskablis b'Shabbos. It's brought down in Chassidus, this idea in Torah Oyer and in many Amar Chassidus, that every davening throughout the week is like a mini Shabbos. But when it comes to actual Shabbos, it picks up and elevates the whole world, but especially the tefillas of the entire week. So now the Rebbe is going to say, but don't we know that there's a connection? The first 3 days of the week has to do with the previous Shabbos, and the next 3 days of the week have to do with the next Shabbos. Here you're telling me the entire 6 days of the week is already Erev Shabbos. How does that fit in together? The coming Shabbos. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and it has actual applications in halacha. If a person missed Havdalah, they could do it till Tuesday. And other things if he missed, like he's going to say, Ashim Shum Kach after last Havdalah, Im Shachuchulu, V'chein Lavras Apar Shnai Mikra Vechet Targum, Ad Yom Shlishi Shal Shavua Ba. So what do we see? You're telling me that the whole week is a preparation for Shabbos. The whole from Sunday through Friday, it's already Erev Shabbos. We see no. We see the first 3 days of the week have to do with last Shabbos, not with the next Shabbos. So he says, "Ke'elohim shneim yonim shoynim, k'vi shemusker b'makom acher sheyeshem namshachas v'ashpos shal Shabbos sheyeshem rak ad shloisha yom lifnei haShabbos ulachareh." There are certain things that Shabbos draws down, that like expands, goes backwards 3 days and forward 3 days. So let's say this Shabbos Bahar B'chokosai has what it draws down and influences from yesterday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then there's also what this Shabbos influences on the next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But that doesn't take away from what we just now said, that the entire week is Yom Rishon Shabbos, Yom Sheni Shabbos, Yom Shlishi Shabbos. Kol sheisi me'achol shelifnei Shabbos mahavim achon Shabbos haba lachreim v'tzrichim lalis u'likol b'soichom. And this is a constant concept that the Rebbe says so many times, that when it comes a certain event took place in the past week, the Rebbe is going to talk about how that is nis'ala. The Rebbe usually uses the term vayichulu hashemayim v'aretz kol tzva'am. Vayichulu from the word klois hanefesh, that goes up. So also lefizeh chala b'Shabbat zu ha'aliyah v'eskal shalag ba'omer yom ha'ilulav yom ha'simcha sherab shim b'yechai. So therefore, even though we're already after Lag ba'omer, the Shabbos still has to do with Lag ba'omer, and the Rebbe is now going to connect everything we spoke about with the yard site of the Shim b'yechai. So now the Rebbe is going to explain what is this idea of a yard site, b'chlal, that it's also about an aliyah. The Kesherli neistalkus nemar kibei meistalkus. The Rebbe says in Tanya, nichlelas va'oila kol avodas Hashem va'amal aruch nisha amla nefesh b'choyim mechaya. Why is that? Why dafka on the day of the yard site? Mekivim shebeshah ha'istalkus mishas ha'istalkus mistayemes avodas haneshama ki shahoysa tzricha lifal beguf. So now the Rebbe is going to say an interesting thing. How can you say mistayemes? We know that certain neshamas have to come back down again. They come down another gilgul. So how do you, like making a blanket statement, on the day of the passing of the neshama, it's finished, it's over. It's not finished. Some people have to come back again. So he says, Afilu kisheleh lavi pam nisefes begilgul, hareizem mistayemes az avoide sheyesh l'lasses beguf zeh. When a person comes down another gilgul, it's not about this body. It's about the neshama has to do something in a different body now. And because it's concluding the entire avodah, mesibazu yesh yisrael limay stalkus al pnei avodah shebemeshach kol yemei achayim ki oz nechlolois umisraksois kol avodas kulam. They're now concentrated. They are now all together, and they come with a full force that they didn't have when they were all divided over the different days of a person's life. Yes, or al kain kishmitztabris kol avodas kulam the tois of oir ha'oil al kolana. So first I'm going to give you a mashal that says somewhere else, and then here he's going to give another mashal for this idea of oir oil al kolana. It's brought down that if, let's say, one person can carry 50 pounds and the other person can carry 50 pounds, that doesn't mean that if they both carry something together, they'll only be able to carry 100. Between them, they might be able to carry 200 or 150 pounds. Why is that? So the term that Chassidus uses, I think also Chakram uses it, is oir oil al kolana. There is a light that results from the sum total that's a greater than just the sum of its parts. So the same thing that Rebbe is going to bring, this is the idea of a yard site. It's not just that the day of the yard site, I now have added up every single day of the tzaddik's life, but now that they're all together, now it's much more powerful than just a collection of all the avodas he did the rest of his life. It's a much more powerful oil because this oil al kolon. Let's see it inside. Kishem kasher mastarfes lemashal oisius misper. Shekol achsmem l'chshatzme yesh lemuvim yochud. Every letter in the Aleph base has its own meaning. We might not know it, but it has a meaning. Aleph means something, Yud means something, Beis means something. They have meanings. But when you take the letters together, when it says Teva Shlema, Hari'aideze ba muvan chodosh lagamli haneveh mitzira fa'oisius shu toichem ha'teva ha'milah ha'oir al kolana, you get something totally new. And the same thing when 10 Yidden come together. Ukishem shebeshah shemitztarf ma'asorim b'nei Yisrael shekol achas kol echad mem yesh lo nefesh alakiyas noitzer mashu chodosh that each one individual doesn't have. So therefore the same thing, and the day that the Rashbi passed away, or the day when a tzaddik passes away, it's not just all of the iris, but it's a totally different gilu. The fizeh yuvan and yonish yom lag ba'omer yom istalkus Rashbi shekein kechol shoyse gedoyle erka shalavoydes Rashbi b'chayev ki bituyav. He said, "Bechad ktires katarna be'achida be'lehita be'kesher echad ito hineni miskasher ochus boy lout boy." Still in all, as powerful as all that was when he was alive, hare erka shel mashe noitzer be'emei stalkus ugol yoyser kitoitza min asikum shel ha'avodas va'oir ha'ola kolona. זה גם מובן של הנאמר על רבי מוישה רבינו 50 שהרבינו נברו בעולם וכולם ניתנו למוישה חסר אחד ורק בשעס הסתלקוסי זוכה גם לשאר הנון 50 har nevoi. It says har nevoi is nun boy, so he only got the shar 50 then because the 50th is not just another level, but it's the 50th level that comes when all 49 levels come together, so then you hit the 50. It's also brought down concerning Sfiras Omer. It says, in last week's parsha, we said, Tisperu Chamishim Yom. What kind of Tisperu Chamishim Yom? We don't count 50 days, we count only 49 days. Why does it say Tisperu Chamishim Yom? So Chassidus says like this, when a Yid counts 49 days, so when they all now collect together, we get the Darga Chamishim that's even higher and koilul all of them together. Same idea like we said over here, Oiroi Lakolon. Kach Yuvan HaNemar B'Medrash Al HaPasuk Yilo Yerani HaAdam V'Chai. So it says, Shafilu Chayes HaKodesh Einam Royos. In other words, the Medrash says like this, Lo Yerani HaAdam, a person can't see me, V'Chai, and something called Chayes HaKodesh can see me. The simple meaning is, if a person would see me, he would die. Lo Yerani HaAdam V'Chai. But the Medrash says, Lo Yerani HaAdam, and even Chayes HaKodesh can't see the Eibishter. Ki hein nimtzoyes tachzer kia, the Medrash says. Achar kach nemar b'Medrash gabet tzadikim b'chayeyem einam roim, avol b'misasam roim. So the Rebbe asks, hold on, Chayes HaKodesh, they were never alive, and they're not able to see. Why tzadikim are able to see after they pass away? Why are they greater than Chayes HaKodesh? When Shal Sashayla Me'achar Sha'af Chayes HaKodesh Shei Malachim B'dargal Yerna Ma'oid Einan Royos Keitzad Yitachim Tzadikim Misasam Royim Vim Sibas Hadavar B'Yisrael and Shalom Shamas Lagav Malachim Hoya Tzadikim Tzrichim Liros Gam Chayeyim. You know, we're Lubavitchers. We all know Malachim, man, and the Shama is higher, a Tzadik is higher. But if that's the reason, so why does he have to wait till after 120? So then, because a tzaddik is higher, so even over here you should be able to see. So I'm manushach. Achlafia amor mizbar adavar b'shasa istalkus kaima Yisrael shalit starfus va'istabros va'oira ha'ila kelana abam mesiyum v'sikum avoyis Hashem, and because of that, they could reach a level that was impossible for them to reach while they were alive, and even malachim obviously can't reach it. He was a Talmud of the Arizal. Nachem, that we say in Shemoneh Esrei on Tisha B'Av, he used to say it. The Rebbe brings down other places that it meant that he used to say it in benching, because how could you say it every day? He couldn't say it Shabbos. Shabbos, Nachem is part of Bnei Yerushalayim. So the Rebbe brings down he used to say it in benching. Why did he say it every single day? It's a Tisha B'Av thing. Mishum she'istar al churban beis hamikdash v'yu mitzapel lebinyonu v'mehera kish amar tfilas nachim gam balag b'omer miroin paga b'kebedos shel Rashbi, he suffered because of it. So the question is, why? Every day of the year was okay to say Nachem, even Shabbos, even Yom Tov, but only Lag b'omer not. How come? Here we're going to get back to the idea of Pnimius HaTorah with the gilui of goodness in the world. Pnimius HaTorah is about revealed good in the world. For those neshamas, einon kayomes hatotzos haruchnis hashlilis shel churban habayis ve'echad me'elu Rashbi. The Rashbi is as if the Beis Hamikdash was never nechrav. Move on him came. Kishbegia yom lag ba'omer boy yisrak zukol avodas Rashbi b'toysef b'sa'ayra l'kolana loyhoyal Rab Avram Alevi lahargish es hachurban legamri b'yoyse Talmud Arizal u'b'yodo es ayrach yom ha'istalkes kisiyum ha'avoda v'es chashivusei miuchedes shel Rashbi. And I think he was at Miron when he said this tefillah, so it was even more so. He was at Miron on the day of the Istalkus Rashbi, when the negative is aside, all that's revealed is positive, and he said Nachem, that was like almost like a slap in the face to what Pnimius HaTorah was about. Tamadover, avoidus Rashbi hoysa lahamshich lahashris as Pnimius HaTorah, sosim deraisa big galya shebetoirah. And when you bring Pnimius HaTorah down into the revealed part of the Torah, ubem tzeusa begalya shel ha'olam. So it comes down, this is what we were talking about, the whole Sikha, that through Pnimius HaTorah we bring it down the revealed part of the world. People open up a Zohar, you see a lot of Tanoim were involved in the Rashbi's Torah. But so what was so special about the Rashbi? Hamshachasa bebchinas gilui ba'olam. V'chivin sh'avidasa hoysa havas pnimis ha'toyri ilana dechaya. L'dei gilui ba'olam, shezu tzoyra chanage, shetia la'asid lavoi, la'yakayim l'didoi, inyan ha'galus b'chlal. So that's why he lived in such a state, as if there was no Churban Beis HaMikdash. Kach yuvan gam super medrash oidis echlim talmidim sharajbi shenasal la'eretz acheres nisasher. He left yeshiva, he left koilel, and he went out into the business world. He became rich. Now, the talmidim Rajbi were humans. They saw this guy became rich. They felt bad. They were suffering. And this guy left yeshiva. He was successful. לפי הגרסה בתנחומה heißt ביקה של פני מירוין. הר נבוי של רשבי. The Rashbi's own personal har navoi, like Moshe Rabbeinu's har navoi. V'kara, bika hismali din rizov. כששמאל הביקה בדין ריזוב, פונל תלמידו ואמר כי כל אחד רשאי לקחת דינים כפי צורכו המשנית. But you should know what you're taking. Al she'alav adas shemechelkei shela'asid lavei hu noitel. When they heard this, hatalmidim sirfu lakachas v'tischach liyom achroin, they wanted to leave the laughter, the enjoyment, for the last day of Golus. In other words, for the last day when Mashiach will come. בהמשך הדבר מסופר במדרש, כי רב שמעון מחלפתא הוא חי בדור מאוחר של רשב"י, שהיה המוירה. The Rashbi was a Tanner, Reb Shimon Chalafta was an Amoira. Haya ani marud v'loi hoylo etzois Shabbos v'yamtiv. Hispal Reb Shimon Chalafta v'nosnim al mayla even toivo. Machareis Reb Shimon ubetmorasa kana tzarchi Shabbos. Kishesipar li'ishtes advarim, he bia as his nagdusa lakach ba'amra shal la'astid yeh shulchancha chaser v'shulchancha v'recha malei. Yatzer Reb Shimon Mechalafta l'sadav hispalel va'evan ha'toiva nitla memen. Technically, I don't know what happened over here. Did he maybe borrow? I think he borrowed money based on this stone. Not that he actually sold it or whatever. Or maybe he sold it, but then he managed to buy it back. I wanted to look up the details in the Gemara over there. Va'medrash Mesayin, Rabbi Seinu Amru, God la nesa achrem en harishin ki mishamaya me'av yohev. So he said, that was a greater ness that they took back the Evan Toiva. But let's look when we compare these two stories. Yesh Eifa Lahavim Shuman Nemar Godla Nesa Achel Gaba Maisa Rav Shimon Chalafta Bolvad V'ilu Gaba Maisa B'Rashbi She'eda Lifnei Zeh Loi Nemar Kain. And the Rebbe says, maybe they didn't take it back. All it says is that the Talmidim did not take from the dinim. But who knows? Maybe the dinim were still there. Nobody took anything back. So the Rebbe says in the parentheses, Bar shadinim nikhu chazara, shari atamidim vitru aleim, v'lo yadu al din rizav shenimtzu b'doris mucharim b'bikas miroin, afshois malaya b'hem b'tkufas rashbi. So obviously, we need to assume that these went back to Shemayim. So if so, what's going on? When Reb Shimon Chalafta, one diamond, we say, big deal. They took it away. That's a bigger deal than giving it. When the Rashbi did it, and they took it back, nobody makes a big deal about it. Came to Mulafizah Maimer, Medrash Parshas Noach, Hamoinus Maloisav Shal Rashbi, and it talks Shabiyamav Leiniras HaKeshes. Right? What does it say? The Keshes came. Why did the Eibishter make a Keshes? Because it was going to be a sign. So in case the Eibishter wanted to destroy the world, he would look at the Keshes, and he wouldn't destroy the world. That's what the purpose of the Keshes was. There was very few generations that a Keshes never appeared. The rainbow never appeared. One of them was the generation of Rashbi. That's what it says over there in that Medrash. That's one of the things that it speaks about the miles of Rashbi. Ubeineim, it's also mentioned another one of the Rashbi's miles as ha'uvda v'miloy abika b'din rizov. So again, if we're trying to talk about the greatness of Rashbi, and you said that taking back is a bigger greatness than giving, so you're holding him off talking about the greatness of Rashbi. You should be talking about they took away the din rizov. Which is greater than the first thing. אך לפי המוסבר לאל, שעניין של רשב"י היה להוביל לגילוי מחשש פנימיס התורה בעולם, כך שגם בזמן הגולוס גישרו הסדרים, כי בזמן הבייס וביס המשיח, יובנו הדברים כדלהלן, because the Rashbi was about bringing down into this world Mashiach-like experiences. HaTorah mevias hashpas ha'eloyis gam lidei bitui gashmi. That's what the mission of Torah is. Torah is to connect the spiritual good with physical good down here. In b'chukois like the leichem nasati gishmeichem beitam. K'moisha namar eitz chayim il machzikim bav simcham mu'usha. Cain, it says, b'smoila oisha recovered. And if b'smoila, which means the weaker part of Torah, the left hand, is oisha recovered, the cholshkim b'yemina kidrash chazal, how much more do you get from the right of Torah? Gam b'parsha say no amurim b'chayis telechu goymer nasati gishmeichem beitam goymer ukemuv megmara chitim kikloyis. They would have such big pieces of wheat like kidneys of a cow. Say that on hagazu ayakayim b'zman abayis v'yir gam la'asid. V'lechein hitzliach Rashbi shelididoy loy hayachorben lashpia ayidei Torah din rezav b'gashmis. It wasn't a big deal for him. And the Rebbe says somewhere over here in one of the footnotes, and this is also the reason why it says that when the world needed rain, so other Tanoim, when they came to them, the world needed rain, they had to fast. Choni HaMagal made a whole circle. Others had to fast, and they had to daven. The Rashbi, it says, one time the world needed rain, he started saying Torah. Because by the Rashbi, Lachatchila, there was no disconnect between the Ruchnis of Torah and the Gashmis of the world. When he said Torah, when he was Megala Primis HaTorah, it affected the physical world down here. So, Chidush Hayarak Bakach, Shu Asa Zois Loi Bishvile V'chayoytze B'zoi Al Tamidav Shoyishruim Adayim B'darga Shal Dosh Sagolis. Hear this is an amazing thing. That he should live in such a type of way, that by him the physical world and the spiritual world are not separate, makes sense, because that was his life. He was a pnimistic Torah type of person. But his Talmidim, how was he able to bring it down to his Talmidim? His Talmidim were bothered by physical needs. That was a big chiddush, the Rebbe said. The Talmidim were living in a golus mindset, and still in all the Rashbi was able to bring it down to them. Rambam, like we mentioned at the beginning of the Shir, when Mashiach comes, there won't be a desire for a lot of things. There's a pasuk in Yeshaya, in the times of Eretz Yisrael, in the times when people were in agriculture, you need to have a flock of sheep, and you need to have not just one eglas bakar. When Mashiach comes, they'll be mistapik with more. They won't care about the physical. Why was it then possible? If these people were living in a gullus type of mentality, so how was it possible for them to get this gilui? Ukeshem shepnimis HaTorah nisgal sayid yod the betzurim muchshis b'toicha oilam l'chol hasugim. That was the Rashbi's koyach. He was able to bring down, like we said, pnimis HaTorah in Galia the Torah into the world. So because he was able to do it that way, kein hoysef sharis hashpa gashmis betzura doima, that even to those that weren't yet on Mashiach's level, they would also have the physical needs. Yesh l'day gam be'uvda shadavar ira be'bika. Hamasamelas dargin nechusa bika matzah. A bika shows on a very low place. The loymerlach shegam kan, even in a very low place, yechoyla primis hatoyra lahamchish as oifen hanhagish alasid lavei. Ata muvenes ha'uvda shalagaber hashbi ein mudgish hapel shalakichas din rezam min hashemayim davar shehivas shinri sidre hashemayim, like we said before. Min hashemayim they only give, they don't take. So it was such a great nest. Why don't we say that by the Rashbi? In other words, we think that Pnimis HaTorah is about out of this world, beyond this world. But the Rebbe is saying, no. Pnimis HaTorah is bring it down to this world. It's not a chiddush about taking it away. That's not a Pnimis HaTorah type of life. In the physical world, it should be good begashmis. The Rashbi said, how come? Why Dafka the Rashbi has this power? Because he's the one of Primis HaTorah. Ki Rashbi of Primis HaTorah, Kshunim and Mashiach, so therefore he can bring this down. Yedua hareish mit Eishana Chayzer Magiluim Shoyel L'Shoyna B'Yom HaNidin Ki Shem Shebechol Tesva B'Nisim Meira Yitzias Mitzrayim B'Chol Shvuas Matan Torah Kach Meir B'Chol Lag B'Omer In Yonish Shal Rashbi V'Sidra An Hagel Shal Asid Lavai Oysa Masa Rashbi L'Tamidav L'Doiris HaBoim Achrav V'Hichlilam B'Primis HaTorah. The Rashbi gave it to us and put it in his Primis HaTorah. So when we learn Chassidus Chabad, we have inside of that the power of the Rashbi, that the Rashbi is able to bring the Gashmis and the Mashiach's times down here. That it says that the time of the right before Mashiach is like the time of the Rashbi. We will have Gashmis ad blida.